you learned content-based English. And I will explain what content English or content-based English is. First of all, let me explain a few characteristics of this content-based English or this content-based approach. In this situation, usually provided by English schools, of course, the teachers, they talk more than the students because they actively have to teach stuff. They're actively teaching grammar rules, vocabulary, or they're actively teaching following a methodology, following a book or whatever. And the thing here is the students, they follow what the teacher is teaching. So students, they through, follow through exercises, through, exercises. Meaning they have a bunch of exercises, reading exercises, writing exercises, filling the gap exercises, write a short sentences, write a short essay. So they have a variety of exercises to actually put in practice what they've just learned from their actively talking teachers, if I can put it this way. And also, the other mentality behind this content-based learning is the traditional translation and memorization approach, which is words in English are also presented in Portuguese or also presented in your mother language, if I can put it this way, and you learn through memorization. You have to associate one word with your language and in another language. So this is somehow what is behind this content-based English. Content-based instruction. What I don't agree with this is that I have to create scenarios. The teacher has to, not me. Well, I'm talking about me because I don't like this anyway. So the teacher has to create scenarios to insert the student in. Insert the student in. But the thing is, and with my experience, maybe with your experience as well, is let's say I used to actually I've taught English in many schools already, and whenever I had an English book, there was a picture saying, oh, now you're in Egypt. You see a camel, you see two people riding on the back of this camel, and you see the pyramid behind them, and now this is the context. The context is not Egypt, but travel. What do you do when you travel? Man, I honestly don't believe in this fake scenarios creation. Much rather, and now comes to my point, is I prefer using context-based learning and as well context-based instruction. So context-based learning, okay. Context-based learning is you have to be you have to live, right? You have to experience. Yeah, this is the word I'm looking. You have to. I'm looking for. You have to experience. You have to live in order to feel. And the outcome of this experience, live, feel, is the knowledge. If I can put it, I'm not really sure if the word is knowledge, but you learn through this context. So, for example, I had students that they work in international companies for the sales force, and there they have to talk about sales processes. So it's easier for them, and for you teacher who is listening to me now, it's easier for you to put your student into this world, talk about what he lives, because the context is there, and if he knows the structures to communicate, the vocabulary is also there. So it's just a matter of organizing mentally or organizing his communication process so he can start voicing what he has to say out, and of course in a way that it makes sense. So for example, when I say context-based learning, the other day I had a student that he came to me and he said, Daniel, I would like to talk more about, or I'm not able, oh, this was his sentence, I'm not able to talk about politics. And then he came to me and said, Daniel, I'm not able to talk about politics. And I was like, man, what is your expectation coming for me now, coming to my classes? Do you want to talk about politics or do you want to speak English fluently? And he was like, no, I want to speak English fluently, but I would also like to talk about politics. And then I showed him the one concept that I've learned with project management, which is nice to have and must have. So this is not when you're working. If you're following me now, when you're dealing with a project, nice to have is what you want to, and must have is the thing that if you don't have, the project will not go on or will not go live. So in that sense, I was like, okay, talking about politics is a nice to have, right? It's a plus. It's nice to have. It's nice to have vocabulary enough to talk about or to discuss about politics. But let's focus first on your must have. Your must have is you must be able to talk about your routine, to talk about your past, talk about your background, to talk about your activities. This is the point. And when I talk about context-based, again, based instruction or based learning is, you have to use more of the things that are around you to actually start communicating effectively in English. Once you do that, once you're able to use the context to talk about the past, the present, and the future, now you're becoming able, or now you're able to start using more complex stuff or to start talking about politics. And the thing is, if you want to talk about politics, you're going to start, actually, you need to start listening to politics. You need to start reading about politics. It's not just a matter of, oh, now I can communicate in English, now I want to talk about politics. If you want to go that deep, you gotta do whatever it needs or whatever it takes to understand that. For example, and I will run another example in today's instruction to you, context-based instruction. I have a student that is investing in stock markets, right? And now we are learning together these vocabulary because it's new for him and it is new also for me. And it is a good opportunity because we're both investing. It is a good opportunity for us to start talking about something that we don't necessarily understand, but in English we are communicating, and as we are talking, some specific words start to pop up. Another example is when I was working for international companies as a process manager. I was talking about the processes that were there, and the processes, when we're talking about logistics processes, you have inbound and you have outbound flows, movements, whatever. So what I'm saying here is the words, the vocabulary, the context is there. What you need is you need to find your way through to navigate with your English through these words, through these contexts, and not jumping into a book context that puts you in front of Egypt picture talking about camels or talking about tourism. If you want to talk about tourism trips, talk about the experience you had on your last trip, on your last or in your future trip, whatever. But try to use the context you're living in. Context is everything. Context is what actually can make you communicate efficiently. And that's it. I don't know how long was this video for, but I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comment. If somehow this is not clear, please let me know and I'll do my best to make it clear next time or even to answer to your comments. That's right. See ya. Keep it real. Bye.